Hey everyone, Ben here again. We're doing another Brothers War best of one draft video. See how this one goes. Thanks to everybody for the warm welcome back last time. There was a lot of really nice comments, and I missed y'all too. And let's do another draft. All right, Urza, Prince of Krug. This card is totally busted. I mean, +2/+2 is just a lot. I don't know what to say. +1/+1 is pretty impressive. Like, think about how when you draft Yoshin Tactician in a soldier deck, and it's like really powerful when you play this and all your soldiers get +1/+1. Well, if you play this, they all get +2/+2. And there's a lot of artifact creatures in this format. So we're probably going to take that. Also, the 6-mana ability is like a win the game stalemate ability. If that wasn't in the pack, I would probably take Yoshin Tactician. I really like this card too. I don't really love blue-white soldiers, but if you get the uncommon, it's like the Lord. It's a pretty good card. Like, there's a lot of small soldiers. There's a lot of creatures that draw more cards and creatures. It's pretty easy to get a lot of value out of that. Otherwise, the best common, I think, is the Strongbow. Strongbow is excellent. Any sort of red aggro deck. If you're a dedicated red-black sack, that's great. But even if you're just like a red-white aggro or something, it's just really hard to block, and like it does a lot of damage. It's just a very, very good aggressive common. But I think Urza, Prince of Krug here is definitely the right choice. This is a card I consider pretty broken. Just got to prioritize cheap artifact creatures. And like, it's pretty splashable. Like, you don't have to play blue-white. Like, if you play like a blue-black or a white-black, you could easily splash this. Staff of Domination, despite being a mythic, is a card I don't really like. I know there's Power Stones, so like you can afford to pay 3 for an artifact, afford to activate these abilities, but they're really just not that impressive. Like, drawing a card for 5 tap is not good. Tapping a creature for 4 tap is not very good. Like, I think this card is just overpriced and kind of a trap. Prison Sentence is fine removal, so is Weakstone Subjugation. I mean, the Fortified Beachhead could be good. The Artifact Soldiers are, really good with the Urza. I could just take that. It's weird to take a rare here, but if a land here, second pick, but it's a rare land that's pretty powerful. And if I do want to splash Urza, I'll be really happy to have it. I don't know if that pick was right over the common removal spells. I like both the blue and the white removal spell in this format, those 2 enchantments, but I haven't really been that impressed with the aura-based removal. Like I was just saying, a lot of the creatures generate value. I don't know. Okay, so here I think there's a pretty easy Yoshin Tactician. So much for drafting the hard way. Blue-white gold rare, blue-white land, blue-white gold uncommon. I mean, like I said, there's not that much of a conflict between trying to draft artifact creatures and trying to draft soldiers, because like all of those 1/1 like soldier tokens in this format are artifacts. So obviously not every soldier is an artifact, of course, and not every artifact's a soldier, but overall, a blue-white artifact soldiers deck will get good use out of Tactician and Urza. I mean, there's not much else to really even consider in this pack. I mean, the Crusher's a decent green card. Elsewhere Flask is pretty cool. I don't think this is like a close pick at all. So speaking of artifact soldiers, there's the Scrap work cohort. I mean, the Hulking Metamorph is kind of cool. We can't really copy this, I think, because it's legend. Most of the clones, or not most, but a lot of them say like, and it's no longer a legend or something like that. This one doesn't. So if you haven't read it or thought about that, just be careful. If you copy a legend, you will lose one of the two, I think. And just a battlefield copy, it's an artifact creature in addition to its other types. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about like not being legendary anymore. You could copy Yoshin Tactician. That's definitely not a legend, but I think Hulking Metamorph would be fine. I mean, obviously we'd play it if we get it. We just wouldn't copy Urza. But I think the cohort is kind of exactly what we want, right? It makes 2 soldiers, another one that comes back from the dead, and it's an artifact creature. And we already have 2 lords that pump all our soldiers and all our artifact creatures. So this is basically 3 artifact/soldiers, like the 2/1/1s it makes and the 3/1. So that seems like a really nice pickup for us. Okay, so no blue or white cards really to consider. I don't really like the counter. Like, it's fine if you have a lot of instants. Not really something I'm looking to do. But Scrapwork Rager's good. The front half doesn't require black. So if you have 1 or 2 black sources in your deck, then you can unearth it. Even if you don't, you can honestly still play it just as an artifact creature that draws a card. It's not great if you can't unearth it, but there are a couple practically free ways to do that. So I think that it's a good card to pick up here when there's not really anything in white or blue. Quicksilver Amulet can be annoying to play against, but this is not a good card. You just don't want to go down a whole card for a card that doesn't perform in the late game and like everything has to line up right. But Yoshin Medic's fine. We already have a way to pump it with the Tactician. It's a soldier. I think that there's a decent amount of aggro in this format, and this card just tends to perform well. So you can see what I was saying about not loving the removal spells. Apparently most of the arena drafters agree with me, because here's Weakstone Subjugation, 7th pick. You know, this Imprison Sentence were the cards in the pack with the Beachhead. And so here I'm going to take it, because now I'm taking it over way weaker cards, of course. I don't know what I would take otherwise, like Depth Charge maybe. That's not really what we're trying to do. We're trying to be more of a soldier deck. But, yeah, that's why I took the Beachhead the first time. I just kind of felt like, you know, I didn't know we were going to see blue-white, so if I played, like, anything else, I'd really want this good blue-white duel so I could splash for Urza, because Urza's pretty busted. And like I said, I wasn't going to force blue-white, but I would definitely draft black-white or black-blue or something, blue-red, and then you could just splash Urza. So that's why I wanted to get the Beachhead, lock up the land, since I already had the gold rare to splash. As it is, it does seem like we're seeing decent blue-white stuff. I mean, I guess we've seen more white stuff. We haven't seen that. Well, we just got a 7-pick Weakstone Subjugation, but it's hard to measure the blue because blue is so weak in this format. I mean, these cards kind of suck. I'm just going to take this in case we end up going red-white aggro, because I think we've seen some decent red. And yeah, right on cue, there's the Strong Bull. Like I said, this is just a good aggressive like red common. I think maybe we're probably supposed to be red-white splash blue, but I don't know. Like, we do have good blue lords here, the dual land and a removal spell. Certainly our blue is a lot better than our red right now, but I feel like we're seeing considerably more red than blue. So you might get some drafting the hard way here after all, because I'm going to keep our options open between these three colors. And yeah, another Strong Bull. I mean, you shouldn't be tabling Strong Bulls. Like, this is probably the second best red common, I think, after Excavation. The 3 damage make a Power Stone. So, I mean, red seems pretty open. But, you know, our white-blue stuff's pretty good, too. So I don't really know where this is going to end up, to be honest. We're kind of all over the place now. It's going to be an interesting draft. Okay, but now we're getting the red removal spell here, 12th pick. So obviously red is wide open. And, like, a lot of people consider red the best color in this format, I think. Like, red and white are, like, very good. So I'm definitely going to be open to playing red. This makes 2 soldier artifact tokens, potentially. So we can definitely still put these lords to work off the splash. Like I said, locked up that Beachhead. Try and draft like a red-white aggro and splash the lords, probably. This is turning out a lot more interesting than I would have thought mid-pack 1. I mean, I thought mid-pack 1 we were just going to be blue-white, but I did not expect to get 2 Strong Bulls, infantry. I mean, Onslaught's not a card I love, but I like it a lot with 2 lords. They're soldier artifact tokens. This gives them +2/+2. This gives them +1/+1. Like, that's pretty busted. Okay, speaking of pretty busted, Tokatsia's Welcome is just excellent. You play, even if you're an aggro deck and you think, well, this is an aggro, that's all right. You'll probably win if you draw 2 cards a turn the whole game. So you just play this thing and then draw 2 cards a turn the whole game. Other than that in this pack, I don't really like the Steel Exemplar unless, like, the last draft, you're mono or heavy and you can play it as a 6/6. I frankly just think as a 4/4 trample, it's bad. As a 6/6 trample, it's good. And it really is that simple. But Tokatsia's Welcome is awesome, so that's an easy pickup. Okay, so easy explosion here. Yeah, red just appears to be wide open in this draft. So I guess I thought I was going to say for the second week in a row, like, okay, I guess I'm not really staying open because I mean, I am open. As you see, I'm switching because red is open. But, like, you know, I thought that, like, I just started blue-white and I was just going to finish blue-white because it looked like, you know, blue and white seemed to be available and, like, I had good blue and white cards. Kind of like last draft, I started black and then I got that corrupt 4th pick. And then, you know, I just saw black the whole draft. Well, this time, it did not go that way. Red seems wide open to me. Red seems by far the most open color in this pod. So I'm definitely going to play red. Probably red-white, but it could be red-blue, right? I mean, Our white cards, we have the Cohort, the Medic, and the Welcome. The Welcome's pretty good. That's an important reason to be white, because this card isn't good off the splash, right? Like, if you have 3 white sources in your deck and you draw your planes on turn 6 and play this, then you're not going to trigger it every turn. Whereas, like, a card like Urza is great off the splash. It's an incredible late-game card. So, and, like, our blue is just really subjugation other than splashable lords. So, I think we're leaning pretty heavily towards red-white. Okay, trying to draft artifact creatures, so I guess Foundry Inspector should be all right. We also want to draft a lot of artifacts if we can. We do have the 2 Strong Bulls, while not soldiers or artifact creatures. Like I said, they're kind of their own little lords. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. I mean, Precursor Golem definitely is the kind of card that, like, tends to get overrated, because if it's unanswered, it pretty much wins you the game. You know, 3/3/3s for 5 mana, but it dies to, like, a bunch of different commons. That said, this is 4th pick, and it's a colorless card, so that shouldn't really happen. Like, sometimes you'll get a Broken Rare 4th pick, and people will, like, kind of ooh and ah, and it's like, well, look, it's a white card, and, like, white felt open, so there's probably just not a white drafter within 3 seats of me. But this is an artifact. It goes in any deck. And, like, it's, like, A tier, not S tier, but it's a very good card, so this should not be here this late. Curves out nicely with the Foundry Inspector. Turn 3 Inspector, turn 4 Precursor Golem. Okay, so easy Cohort, I think. Cohort's just going to be, like, a house for us. I mean, this card is already a house, like, without Lords. Like, it is a really good Magic card. It trades, like, with other 3 and 4 drops and leaves behind 2 1/1s and some damage when you unearth it. And given both Lords pump it all the way, I mean, I think that that's a card we're looking for as many as we can get of. So, seems like a pretty solid little artifact creature. So we really want to prioritize artifact creatures. We really want to prioritize 3 drops because of the Welcome, or 3 drops or less, I should say. In this case, we're going to prioritize 2 drops, especially because we have none. So that's important. So you can pick up an Engineer. Not one I really want, but playable. So all of these cards seem fine for us. We're mostly artifact creatures, soldiers. Probably won't end up splashing the Rager because I'm going to end up splashing blue, most likely. I mean, if I don't pick up a single Evolving Wilds, I don't know if I'll do the blue splash. I mean, these are quite good cards, but my power level's also gotten quite high. Although I guess the Onslaughts get a lot worse if I don't play the Lords. Well, Chromatic Star could help. I do want the Vanguard here and the Strong Bull. I don't know if I can make the Discipline pick or not. Take the Star. I mean, the Star is good with the Strong Bulls. It's you don't have to sack it for mana. You just, when it goes to the graveyard, you get a card, and it enables our splash. If I want to worry less about the splash, I'd probably take the Vanguard. Yeah, we've got the Beachhead already and 2 good Lords. Just take a good mana source. It's not over anything incredible. It's over a 2-drop I did want, but I can be a little greedy, right? It's not like LSV level greed. That's just like pick up the card to enable the splash. Whirling Strike's fine if we're aggro. Unleash Shell's fine if we're aggro. I think we already have a Shell. Grab a Strike. Overall, I think this deck looks good. I think we would really like 1 Evolving Wilds, and we need some 2-drops. But I mean, the power level's pretty high. Remember, these make artifacts, so my Strong Bulls are near unblockable. These are all going to be huge, all these 1/1s with the Lords. The Mishra's Onslaughts with the Cohorts and with the Urza and the Yoshin Tactician. There's a lot of good stuff going on here. I don't think we're going to play any of these, but if we do, maybe the Survivor is a Soldier. If I'm really desperate for 1-drops. I mean, it's 20 playables not counting the land. I'm not really attached to some of these cards. Like, definitely lose the Unleash the Shell. It's a pretty mediocre removal spell. Guess I'm just going to grab another Engineer in case I'm desperate. I mean, it's not the worst to leave behind a Power Stone in a deck where I can sack the Power Stones to the Strong Bulls. And it can also cast the Juggernaut and the Precursor Golem. I don't think it's great, but I think it's, like, playable. So if I don't get the better... Like, the Phalanx Vanguard that I took the Star over, that's a better card for sure. But if I don't get those, then at least I have a 2-drop to play. Probably a little too top-heavy here. I'm going to have to cut some of this. So maybe I'll end up not splashing. Well, hello, Platoon Dispenser. You're one of the best cards in the set. I like you a lot. This is total S-tier Mythic. You play it when you already have 2 creatures out and you draw a card. So if they kill it, you're up a card. And then if they don't kill it, you draw 2 cards a turn. And it's blocks and it's hard to kill. And if they do kill it, it still comes back from the dead and draws you another card. I'm just reading the text. This card is just obviously totally busted. This is a very, very good Magic card. It is another expensive card. I'm obviously going to take it. I can just boot out some of these other cards. And with how high my power level's getting, I'm already a lot less concerned about the splash. That said, the Beachhead's like a really free land to splash, and I have a star. So I'm not really sure how I'm going to shape this deck. I'm definitely going to take the dispenser, and I'm definitely going to look for 2-drops and 3-drops, and be willing to cut the splash, even though they're good. Be willing, you know, to take weaker, cheaper cards over more powerful ones, but not over the Mythic Rare that's totally broken. So now there's what? Levitating Statue and Combat Thresher. Both seem reasonably good. We're almost all creatures, which is good. We have the Welcome. I mean, I like Levitating Statue, but I don't think it's going to be that great in this deck, whereas Combat Thresher's good. And it is a 3-drop. Like, you know, if you play this for 3 mana, not 7, you're playing a 3-mana card. Like, you trigger your Welcome. So it's not really like it's a 7. And then you can still play Urza and give it +2/+2, and you have a 3/3 double striker attacking. And that's totally ridiculous. All right, so we have too many expensive cards, so let's assume we can start by cutting that. Well, there's an Evolving Wilds for the splash. I like that. And we're not taking over anything incredible, right? I mean, I would definitely play Combat Couriers in this deck, you know, given all the synergy and the light blue splash. But locking up this Wilds really goes a long way for our blue splash that we do want to do. I was getting ready to drop it just because I have so many power cards and expensive cards. But if we're going to get an Evolving Wilds over not that much, and we already have a Beachhead, now we just have good mana. Probably just play less of these Onslaughts. I know they synergize with these, but I mean, we can't play this many expensive cards. So here seems like we can get a cheap creature, Paratrooper or Courier. Paratrooper's probably a lot better. That's a good 2-drop. I like Ambush Paratrooper a lot. I always say this, format in and format out. My number 1 rule for early drops is that they're useful cards in the late game. And while this is only poking for 1 on the early turns, once you have 5 mana, this thing is very threatening. Especially if you make a lot of 1/1s, which we do. Probably not going to play 3 of those, but I am going to play some. Maybe I won't even play any, but regardless, I'm going to have a lot of cheap creatures. Okay, Springleaf Drum looks like it could be useful. It's another free blue source. We can sack it to the Strong Bowls. Otherwise, Blitz Automaton, Energy Refractor, yeah, those are all pretty mediocre. In a deck with this many cheap creatures and a powerful blue splash, we want the Springleaf Drum. So, let's see. We've gotten pretty aggro, so I'm probably not that interested in the Medic. I like that card in general. I would have liked it in a blue-white with flyers and more late-game oriented, even though we do have a good late game because our cards are so good. But with 3 Strong Bowls in a red-white, we're going to be trying to pressure them. Okay, Vanguard. I do want this Frontliner, too. It's an artifact and a soldier. Can I take it over Vanguard, though? I really need the 2s, right? Like, I have 3 solid 2s. This pack 3, I'm probably not going to get any more 1-drops. I do like Yotian Frontliner quite a bit in these decks. And it does synergize with both of these. I think we can take the Frontliner for the double synergy. And 3 2-drops isn't that bad. Maybe we'll get one or 2 more. Can I splash this too? No, I'm just kidding. This card's fine, but I'm not looking to splash for it. Here we'll just grab, I guess, Blitz Automaton. I don't think this is going to make our deck, but Mishra's Worker's probably not. So we can get a 4th Strong Bowl or another Blitz Automaton. I mean, I don't really like either of these cards. I guess we can get to 7 for artifacts with a couple Power Stone Engineers, but we're probably just going to sack those to pump our Strong Bowls. I think Strong Bowl's pretty good in our deck, though I guess 4 is getting a bit excessive. I don't know if we're going to play 4, but I also don't think we're going to play a second copy of that 3/2 haste. I don't even know if we're going to play the first copy if I took it. I'm really not a big fan of that card. I actually do like Aeronaut Cavalry a lot, but I don't think it can make our deck. We just have too many good expensive cards to play it. We'll see how this Frontliner does. I think that was the right pick. It synergizes well with the drum. It synergizes well with both our lords. It just seems like a card that, you know, is offering us something for 1 mana. Let's assume we're not going to play this Blitz Automaton. We're going to play 16 lands, so this is 26, so we have to cut like 2 more of these. This trick is fine. It's not going to make our deck. Probably not going to play 10 strong bulls in this deck. I mean, listen, strong bulls are really good common, like I was saying. Don't come down on the card just because you saw me get 10 of them in this draft or whatever. Like, red is wide open. Like, we clearly found the open color with red. I know my red didn't end up, like, super busted, but, like, you know, we're tabling strong bulls here. That said, I didn't get that many cheap artifacts to sack and token makers, but that's why I took the frontliner too, because I thought it would synergize quite well with the frontliner. And also, these leave Power Stones to sack, and these make 1/1 tokens, like, each one makes, like, 2 of them. And the Mishra's Onslaughts can make 2 Artifact Soldier tokens, so we can definitely have some artifacts out to sack. All in all, I think this deck came together really nicely. I think red-white was the right find. Can't see what our second color would be otherwise. So like I said, it's definitely going to be 1 island, because we have the Evolving Wilds and the Beachhead, Springleaf Drum, that's tons of sources. Certainly going to play 16 lands. So that's 6 white, 6 red, which is really 7 red and 8 white, and then 3 blue, not counting the other sources. That looks right. Oh, wow, and I don't have to make any cuts at the moment. I'm going to check my sideboard and make sure this is what I actually want, but let's see. So we obviously can't cut the 2-drop creatures, though, because I ended up with only 3 of those. Would really like to have 1 or 2 more. Maybe I can play, like, some of these. I mean, they're soldiers, and they have a useful ability. The 3s, the 4th Strongbow would probably be the most cuttable. Strongbow's not, like, its best in our deck, but again, the frontliner's good to sack, these 1-mana artifacts, the Power Stones these leave behind, the Thopter comes back, Cohort gives you 3 artifacts. I mean, obviously you're not really looking to sack 3 1s, but at least 2 1/1s behind. These can make 1/1s. Also, I think if you sack this Precursor, only this has the actual ability, right? So, like, then the 2 3/3s are at least somewhat immune to removal. I mean, obviously, you've already sacked a 3/3, so you wouldn't do it for no reason necessarily. But if you thought they almost certainly had a removal in hand, you could sack, I think, the Precursor. Because the tokens it makes are just generic golems. It's only the Precursor that has that target 1 golem, target all golems ability. So that could be a way to play around removal, too. And then Juggernaut's cuttable. I mean, we're pretty aggressive, though. With all these Strongbowls and stuff, I don't think we're going to lose races. It's probably right, except I would like to have, like, 1 more 2-drop in pretty bad. Like, I would like to put, like, a Survivor in. I could just cut, like, 1 Strongbow. I mean, Strongbow, like I said, is a really good card. I mean, if you have 2 out, you can't really pump them both, although if they can't block because you have artifacts to sack profitably, then they're both connecting. I mean, I think the Strongbow is substantially better than the Survivor. And again, I think Strongbow is a good card. Like, I don't think it's a card you're looking to cut from red aggro decks often. I think I'm, like, medium on artifacts to sack to it. Like, I don't think I'm terrible. Like, this is 3. I have a lot to come back to the dead. This can make artifact soldiers. Like I said, I don't have to name them all again. You understand that at a glance, this doesn't look like I have a ton of artifacts to sack, but really, each cohort makes 2 1/1 soldiers. This makes 2 1/1 soldiers, like, etc. But I think I need to lower my curve just a little bit. It's not bad, but I feel like I need to play, like, 1 of those Survivors. So I think, like, what are my cuttables? I can cut, like, Whirling Strike. I like my first... That's my only trick, though, right? So, like, and I want to be able to attack sometimes. Although my creatures are going to be hard to block just because of the Lords and Precursor and everything they do. But it's still nice to have 1 combat trick in an aggro deck, at least. So, I mean, I think Strongbow's the worst of my 3-drops in this deck. Not necessarily in general, but in this deck. For 4s, it would be a Mishra's Onslaught, which... I mean, it's not a great card, but it is kind of great if you play it and then untap and play, like, Urza and attack for 6. And I am pretty creature heavy. Remember, the cohort's going to leave some tokens out. Like, there's going to be times the +2/+8 everything wins the game. And then the Juggernaut would be the only expensive card here I would consider. And remember, my curve's not as bad as it looks. Like, this is a 3-mana card. Like, if you play it for 7, cool, but, like, I can play it for 3. This isn't a draft where I think I can go lower in lands, right? 6, 11, 12... Wait, what? 6, 11, 12, 14? This is only 14 lands? Oh, well, I have to make more cuts, apparently. This just got harder. I mean, this is a 16-lander, I think, but it's not a 14-lander. 7, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, well, I guess we have to make 2 more cuts. And that's 3 more if I want to play 1 Survivor, which I still do. I don't know if I'm going to or not. But... Okay, in that case, let's cut 1 Strongbow, like I said. 1 Onslaught, because those were the weakest cards. And then it's between like Strike, Survivor, and Juggernaut maybe. I got a lot of power. I could cut the Juggernaut. It's pretty good with +2/+2 with the Prince as well. And I got a lot of top end. I'm going to cut the Juggernaut. I'm going to play the cheaper card, like I said. We'll see if it comes back to bite me. It's not a real powerful card, but I think it's the right choice. It did feel like I was fixing. Like I was a little short sources. That was kind of weird. I should have probably realized that sooner. Because now it's like 8 red, 6, 7, 8 white, and 3 blue. That seems more correct. Alright, so I'd like to have another good 2-drop or 2, but other than that, I think this deck's got a really nice power level, so we'll see how it goes. Oh yeah, I didn't even mention all those times, but the conscripted infantry also leaves behind a soldier token. Like, I'm pretty good at that. I don't think I'm going to really lack for soldier tokens. Maybe I could have went to 15 lands with a Springleaf Drum, but I still have to hit 3 right away, right? Like, I have a lot of 3-drops. And, like, I might not even draw a 1 or 2-drop. Which, you know, is not good, but it's not the end of the world. But I have to have land 3. I can't be stuck on 2 and not casting things. Okay, so clearly we're not going to mull this. I mean, you know, far from perfect hand, but we got a 1-drop and then 2 3-drops. Our 2 main kinds of mana. Alright, so if we attack, we're telegraphing our trick. Will they block? Maybe. I don't think they care that much about their 1/3. If they block, I have to play the trick. Or bury my creature. That's just not a good turn 3, right? I can play the Foundry Spectre, and then next turn I can attack. And then I can play Whirling Strike and Reconstructed Thopter, now that it only costs 2. I don't think if I attack and they block, I'm happy, right? Like, if they don't block, obviously I get in a free point of damage, but I don't think they're too attached to their 1/3. I think there's a decent chance they would block, and if they did, I would not be happy at all with this turn. I think now this is much better. Assuming they don't have anything for a blue, I'm going to attack with the Inspector and Whirling Strike it when they block. What could they have for a blue? There's the Bounce spell. They do have an artifact creature. I get totally wrecked. I mean, I could kind of telegraph my trick, but I think it's worth it. I'm going to play the Reconstructed Thopter first. This way, if they have the Bounce spell, I don't get nearly as blown out, right? Like, if I attack with the Foundry Inspector here, pre-combat, like before playing the Thopter, not pre-combat, you only attack during combat, but if I start the turn by attacking with the Inspector, and they block with the Bulwark, and then I play the Whirling Strike, and then they bounce it, I only have 2 mana left, and I can't cast anything, right? Whereas now, if they bounce it, I already cast the Thopter, because the Thopter would go back to costing 3. That's why I did it in this order. I wanted to play around that bounce spell. So, like, imagine I attack, they block, they bounce something, whatever, and then, you know, like, I can't cast, I would not have been able to cast the Thopter here. I would have one less thing out. They ended up bouncing the Thopter, so it looks weird, but still, I spent all 4 mana. And they didn't bounce what was already in play. They bounced the Thopter I just played. So that wasn't a real concise explanation, but basically the Thopter's cost goes from 2 to 3 if the Inspector gets bounced. So I didn't want to attack first, have them block, me pump, them bounce, and then me not be able to cast something. Instead, I played the Thopter first while I knew it would cost 2 mana. Then I put the Inspector in combat. And then if they wanted to bounce the Inspector, all right, the Thopter could go back to costing 3, but it's already in play. So that was the point there. Okay, so for this turn, I can't double spell, and it doesn't matter whether I pay 3 or 4 for the cohort, because that's my best play this turn by far. So I'm just going to attack with the Inspector. They're going to probably trade the Bulwark for it. I'm okay with that. Otherwise, it has a Surveil ability. And then post-combat, I'm playing the cohort, whether they block or not. Yoshin Frontliner's not really coming through for me so far. Would have been substantially better as the Phalanx Vanguard that would have attacked every turn this game. Well, if I draw a blue land, though, it is going to be turned way on. But in the meantime, I can't do anything. So we'll just play our flyer. So how many blue sources do I have? I've got the The Fortified, Beachhead, Evolving Wilds, Island, Chromatic Star, and Springleaf Drum. All right, 5's not that bad. Gonna need one of those blue sources here. Well, now I'm punished pretty hard for trading off that Foundry all willy-nilly at the moment. But Precursor is a big game, and a blue source is a big game. So I'm on a lot of good draws here. It's not a bad card either. Lets me, this is going to be able to attack. Remember I was talking about having so much to sack? I mean, I can, like, start by sacking the Thopter. I can sack the 1/1s. It's not going to be easy for them to block the Strongbow. I mean, if they want to throw everything at it, they have a lot of toughness, but it's going to take down multiple things, deal them some damage, and free up this Thopter. Can I send anything else? Well, maybe. I mean, they have the 1/2/4. That's a pretty big pain, but if I'm preparing to sack things to the bowl, I can send artifact creatures. The problem is all my stuff is so small, and I might throw all my stuff at an opponent in a game like this, except I'm sitting on 2 lords. So I'm, like, waiting on a 5-outer to, like, if I play this, 3/3, 5/3, 3/3, I mean, it's, like, game over. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll send just the bowl here. If they block it with the... If I can kill the 4 toughness creature, I'd be happy. If they don't block it with that, can I take out 2 things pretty free? Yeah, I'll sack, like, Thopter and Frontliner and take out, like, 2 things. I might have to sack, like, one or 2 more things, but they can easily put 6 toughness on it, so that requires 4 sacks. Do I want to sack all my stuff? Not really. Maybe. This doesn't seem great. I guess they wouldn't even kill it, though, if they put 2/2/3s on it. They have to put, like... And I don't have to sack that much for it to live. So, yeah, I think this has a profitable attack. For them to kill it, they have to put on, like, the 3/3 or 3/2, and then I don't have to sack that much. And freeing up the Thopter just gives me something to do and deals them more damage. Like, I don't think this is great or anything, but I have a bunch to spend my mana on once I draw 1 more land. So I think this is a good trade, just to deal them some damage now, then some more damage when I bring back the Thopter. And if I get to take out any of these useful creatures, like if they put both Third Path Savants on it, I would be really happy to take them both out, because those are 1 land away from drawing 2 cards. If they put the Latinum, then that's going to grow and grow when they start activating the Savants. The Hurkle has a static like type ability. So, I mean, overall, I'm pretty happy to trade Strongbow for some of these creatures. So they put 5 on it. So if I sack 3 things, it lives. But I guess I only kill 1 of theirs. Or I can sack 4 things and kill both. So I guess their logic was those are the creatures that don't matter for them, so they'll put them on it, which makes sense. But I'm happy to do this sacking. My creatures are sitting here doing nothing, and they're going to all come back and make more things. So I'm just going to sack all my creatures, take out both of theirs, and live. Because, I mean, I'm literally sacking, like, these 2 are sort of real creatures, but the cohort will come back, attack again, leave another 1/1 behind. I know I just got done saying how these were going to be so awesome when I drew a blue source, but, I mean, I have Precursor as well. And let's not forget, they took 4 damage in that process. Charbelcher stinks. I don't know like what their land count is like or whatever, but this card is really, really hard to actually use well. You have to like target first and then hope you hit a mountain, hope you hit enough cards. I just think it's overall pretty bad. Okay, so I want to get the star in play. So this turn, they don't have a profitable block on a 3/1, so this seems pretty easy. I'll just bring back the cohort, attack with all my creatures, leave 1 up. Planning to play the star, figuring they won't block the Strongbow. If they do block the Strongbow, then okay, I'll just sack a 1/1 and kill something. But Well, I guess they called that. Maybe I should have assumed they would make this block, but I don't know. I'm taking out a Latinum Adept that's going to grow and grow and grow if they activate the third path Savants. That seems good for me. I did really want to get the star in play, so I don't know if this was actually good or not, but... So do I sack the 1-1 or the 3-1? If I didn't have the Lords, I would sack the 1-1, because the 3-1 is dealing them 3 damage right now, but the 1-1's a real threat, because they're only going to have out 2/2/3s, and I'm going to play back-to-back Lords soon, so I'm going to sack the 3-1. Maybe I shouldn't have sent the Strongbow. Maybe that was a mistake. I mean, it's not bad. Like, don't get me wrong. All they have to do is tap 7 and draw 2, and that thing grows to a 4/4. It's, you know, and then they do it again, it grows to a 5/5 or whatever. Like, I'm not unhappy to trade with it. I'm just not sure if that play was right or wrong. Okay, so this turn, we're going to attack with the infantry and play the precursor. And then, if I untap with it, I play the Urza and the game's over. And the Charbelcher doesn't even work against the Precursor, right? Precursor says whenever it's the target of an instant or sorcery. So, you know, they can kill it, but they're only killing them one at a time. I mean, they can try and hit the Urza, but they're going to have to leave their mana up for it, and they're going to have to hit right away. Well, unfortunately, they drew an Excavation Explosion. That does work. And they get a bunch of Power Stones to boot to activate their Charbelcher, so that's not great for me. This game is getting tight. Alright, I guess we're going to see how they do with their Charbelcher, right? I can now cast Urza, attack with the 2/3/3s. If they don't Charbelcher Urza successfully, they're taking 6 down to 2. I like our chances. If they do, then they're probably going to win, but... That was not the world's best mana tapping, I guess. I should have tapped a mountain for the blue mana. Could be sending this too. That was quite bad. I had to draw a land to be able to do that, but there's no reason drawing a mountain prevents me from doing that. That was just loose and sloppy. And of course, they succeed. I'm going to get Charbelchered out here, and I hate this card so much. It's so, like, you miss when you need to hit, you hit when you need to miss. You don't, like, it's so situational. Alright, I guess, what is the plan now? It's not looking good. Don't have blue. Think I'm just going to play the engineer and pass, because then I can bring in the trooper end of their turn and then try for the alpha next turn, I guess. I didn't think I was going to lose this game. I probably played bad. We might still be able to sneak out a victory, so let's see what happens here. But so I have a deal 3 in my deck, right? Okay, so I think... I'm not saying that they don't have anything. I have no idea what's in their hand. But I think pretty clearly we're going to go Island, Yotian Soldier... Yotian Tactician, I mean. And then if we bring back the frontliner, it'll be a 2/2, but it can pump this one into a 3/3 plus 2 in the air. If we get in 5, that puts them in Excavation Explosion range. I have 19 cards in my deck. I'm pretty sure I have one copy of that deal 3. Plus, I have more strong bulls, so that's another way I could potentially kill them. I'm not saying this is going to work. I'm just saying it's worth a try, right? Try and get them in range in the event that they don't have anything here. If I can get them below to 3 or below, then I can probably end up burning them out. Or at least I can have a reasonable chance to. Sadly, 4 isn't 3. Do I have any actual outs? Like, what do I have? I have the Explosion, the Strong Bull. Platoon Dispenser could still be good. This Survivor ended up really terrible. We'll keep an eye on if this card is too bad. Maybe it shouldn't be in the deck. I think the first mass sack to the Strong Bull was good. I think the second attack with the Strong Bull maybe wasn't. I could have just pushed the 2/3 power creatures in, and then they would like take more damage, and I could just attack with the Strong Bull another time, I guess. I did trade with a Latinum Adept, to be fair. Like, that creature was not a 3/3, right? It would have grown turn after turn, basically, after that. But I don't know if that was a good attack. It might not have been. Okay, well, I'm dead. That was a good game. I don't know. I think that sacking to kill the 3/2 and the 2/4, that first Strong Bull attack was good. I think the second one may not have been. Maybe I should have just sent the 3/1 and the 2/3/1s. And then I either get 6 through or I make really profitable trades. Because I kind of gave them, like, an even-ish trade. Like, I don't think that exchange was bad for me. I mean, I sacked the cohort that was dying anyway. But the Strong Bull in that spot was not as good as the Adept would have been. But I give them, like, no profitable trades if I don't send the Bull, like, no even-ish trades. I force them to just take 6. Maybe that would have been better. And then the Bull can threaten an attack on another turn. Okay, well, again, no blue source, but 5 is a lot. No red source is a bigger concern, but there's like 8 of those in the deck, not even counting stuff like Springleaf Drum, and I think that this is a hand on the draw you pretty much have to keep, right? With 2 drop and 3 lands. Just hopefully draw well. I mean, I guess we need a mountain and an island. Really hate to mulligan a 2-drop with how few of them I have, though, and I'm on the draw. So I have several cards to get a mountain and an island or a blue source. Feels like it's not going to be my draft here. Draw the 4th plains. Well, that's at least a decent 4-drop. Like, my mana is quite good. Like, my deck, I have some good cards. I have some, support soldiers and stuff. But, like, I have, like, a Tri-Land and Evolving Wilds, a Great Duel in the blue-white Fortified Beachhead, and then I also have, like, Springleaf Drum, which is pretty good for with all the little creatures, and Chromatic Star. Which I always conveniently draw later in the game here, when it leaves me a little short of doing what I really wanted. We'll see what they have. This doesn't gain trample, right? No. They could have a Whirling Strike, though. So, what are my good trades? Power Stone Engineer for Blitz Automaton is great. I don't necessarily really want to trade off my artifact creatures before they grow, but I can only take so much damage. They can double strike this. That's already 9. I feel like this for the 3-1 looks alright. And then next turn, let's say I go Star off the Engineer, Power Stone, and then Urza. Oh, I just have the 1/3/3. I can't really block a 5/4 or a 2/4 double strike, so that's not great. So maybe I can't just do this. So maybe if I double block that, I mean, I can get more artifacts later. I might be too far behind. I mean, if they don't have anything, I don't think I am. If they have a Whirling Strike, I'm probably in bad shape. Okay, so I was kind of hoping maybe to Explosion the Strongbow, but that's obviously not possible now. So I think, what are we going to do? Because they could sack the desk to it and have it live. So what are we going to do? We could play the Ocean Tactician. 3/4 can't block Chain Dancer, but it can block Strongbow. I mean, if we onslaughted and got the 2/1/1s out, and then we untapped, we could then play the Urza, making them both 3/3s, and that would be nice. They're just not that effective against this Double Striker and this Grower. It's a problem with falling behind with your aggro decks. Maybe I shouldn't have kept the hand, but I don't know. I think that's a keep on the draw. I think I'm just going to play the 3/4. It stops the Strongbow unless they find, like, multiple things to sack, really. And then I can still bring in 2/2/2s at flash speed, maybe get a block there. This may have been more sloppy play by me. I didn't need to play that mountain. I could have the beachhead in play. It's pretty easy to get in play. Like, if the Tactician lives, I can still play it on tap, but these aren't soldiers. These make soldiers, but they're not soldiers in hand. If I lose the game to not having the beachhead out, I'm going to be pretty upset. I guess having 2 mountains out could be important too. Like, as of right now, if they didn't do anything that really changed this board, I might want to play Onslaught and Excavation Explosion next turn. Alright, I can't block because they would double strike and eat my creature. Theirs would live, mine would die. So, what do we want to do now? I've got 5, 6, 7 mana counting the beachhead. If I only need 6, then I'll get the wilds out. If I can spend 7 profitably, I should. If I want to play Urza, I can bring Cohort out, and then the 1/1 will be a 4/4 that it leaves behind. So that'll be a decent blocker. But I'm probably going to end up having to put Urza or Tactician in the way of things too, since I'll only have that 1/4/4 to block with. That might be okay, though. I mean, the 3/4 mostly stops a 3/1 and 2/3. That looks like it might be my best option. And I can throw the 4/4 artifact token on the Chain Dancer. They can double strike, and that still trades. So that seems pretty good. So I think that has to be my play here, right? Unfortunately, the cohort dies, so I can only attack with it. But if they don't have any removal in hand, it leaves behind a 4/4. That's a pretty good blocker. Okay, that's good. Looks like they're going to discard a land, see what they find. I mean, if I'm able to stabilize, you know, all my artifact creatures are going to be huge. So, no decision here. We'll trade the 4/4 for the 2/4 double strike. Okay, and no real decisions here. We're not going to do better with an explosion than killing a strong bull. And if they attack with those 3/1s, I get to flash in 2 4/4s. And if they don't have anything, then that'll be game. You thought this made 1/1s? Nah, it makes 4/4s. The opponent agrees. That is game. And that was pretty nice, you know. I mean, if you imagine I hadn't been stumbling. Okay, look, I gotta admit, I think it's kind of lame to just, you know, I call this the smiley face game. I think it's pretty lame to just always, like, smile yes when you win and sad face when you lose. But it's not like I won with a broken rare. It's not like they were mana screwed. I stumbled and had some mana problems and stuff and fell behind, and then turned the game by flashing in 2 4/4s. That's a smiley face, right? I think we earned a smiley face there. This deck really needs a couple Phalanx Vanguards. I think they're called the 2-mana 2/2 Vigilant Soldier that grows when you play an artifact. My card would be so good in this deck. I probably should have took them. I was a little greedy. Another nice 2-lander on the play to keep. Last time I was on the draw, but this time I have 2 engineers. If I draw 1 land, this draws a card as a 3-drop. I have to keep this, right? Come on, deck. We need a land. Give us a land. I guess they might attack, and then I can block and play the Thresher, and then I'll have more cards to find the land. This trade doesn't look great for them, but I would snap do it now because of my hand. Well, they very astutely did not make the trade, but I drew the land anyway. So I'm playing this first because it's really important that, you know, if I'm going to draw lands, I draw them now so I can do more each turn. I don't particularly want to draw lands anymore at this point, but, you know, the next land does let me double spell potentially, so I do want to get it sooner rather than later if I'm going to get it. Okay, and the Whirling Strike gives me a profitable attack, so I'm just going to attack. I'm definitely down for a race with my Double Striker and my Whirling Strike. That's way better for me, right? They take considerably more trample damage. I don't know why they switched it up. I guess they figured if I had nothing, that was the better block, which is true, but I probably wouldn't make this attack if I didn't have a trick. And if I have a trick, they save damage by blocking the engineer. So that's a good spot to talk some strategy. So, I mean, if you knew I had nothing, of course, you'd rather block the Thresher, but I would never make that attack if I had nothing. If I have a trick, you want to block the one that's going to result in you taking less damage, and that would have been blocking the engineer. Okay, so unfortunately, though, the 1/3 kind of stops me pretty cold here. So I think we're going to have to chill for a turn. Speaking of stopping me cold, and now they got a 2/7? What's going on here? I would have said, well, Strong Bull should break it open, but that's not attacking past a 2/7. So, I guess we're just going to stack out some creatures for now. I don't really like this. I mean, it's not like they're drawing cards every turn. They get that one mountain from the yard, good beats. I don't know what they're holding. Presumably green cards. If I draw, like, my Lord plus a blue source, or if I draw Mishra's Onslaught, I could just attack with everything, potentially. Plus 2 below soda, everything looks nice. I don't know why my light blue splash 2 cards, I just, like, never have, like, the blue source. Or, also, I guess I haven't even seen Platoon Dispenser yet, which is by far the best card in my deck. That card is a true S-tier mythic, in my opinion. So, do I have an attack? Probably not. I'd have to send, like, everything. They have 2 good blockers. I mean, so the frontliner comes out. Does it pump something meaningful? Not really. I mean, it can get the Thresher so that... No, it still get eaten by the Behemoth. Yeah, I don't have an attack. Now they're Evolving Wildsing every turn for a free land. This combo is so sweet. Behemoth Wilds. Yeah, I haven't drawn Takasi as welcome either. And, like, with all the token making, like, I can bring Frontliner back and draw a card to find 3-drops to get it going. My draws have been a little awkward here. How am I going to break through this? My opponent's also playing, like, mono-red control here. So, if I attack with the Strong Bull, what's going to happen? I can, like, play the Frontliner, pump it, so it'll be a 3-4, and then the Frontliner can turn into a 4-5. I certainly could sack, like, 1 or 2 of these to get it to the size to take down these things. Just don't know if that's even good. I mean, now I could also just wait for either of the blue cards. Also, if I do draw Tokasia Welcome, like I said, I want to have the Frontliner to bring back, potentially. Draw a card. I think I'm probably just supposed to chill. Especially now that I have the blue source. I don't love that they're getting a land a turn, though, with that Evolving Wilds. I mean, I assume they have at least 1 forest in there to go get. Maybe they don't. I don't really know. I mean, they seem to be like a heavy to mono red, but I assume if you have these cards, you would play like at least 1 forest to get off your Evolving Wilds. That'd be pretty weird not to. Unless they're really dedicated to playing mono. It's going to be hard to break through. I'm not going to lie to you. 2/7 and a 6/6 are not small creatures. I mean, Urza can start copying things. I don't think the Soldier Lord's really changing anything. Platoon Dispenser, though, if I draw that, then I'm drawing 2 cards a turn. That should probably win me the game if they can't remove it. And even Takasia's Welcome. I mean, bring this draw card. If I find a 3-drop in this and if the card I draw off this end for my next turn, then I can play that and draw a card. Could start drawing 2 cards a turn. So, gotta just mostly sit around and try and draw my good cards, I guess. How much damage do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can sack the token off this as well. 6, 7, 8. I can almost kill them. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. They have 4 cards in here. I assume they're going to do something. But, like, between the Bowl and the Flyer, I'm actually not far from lethaling them. Like, if they had nothing. I'm not saying, like, that's going to happen. I'm just saying. Like, if you imagine every artifact represents a point of damage, and the unearthed ones too, and, like, the cohort unearth and the cohort token, like... I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm definitely going to attack next turn with the Thopter if they don't play a reach creature. And then I think the turn after that, I'll just be able to drain them out with the Bull if they can't kill it. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but Mono Red doesn't have that many ways to deal with these things. Because, like, if they throw some burn at it, I can just sack some things like I kind of want to do anyway. Alright, so for now... They really need like a reach creature. We'll obviously sack it in response. This gives hexproof and haste, right? Not reach. That doesn't actually stop us, I don't think. This turn I can bring these out, hit them for 5, and then the turn after I can just drain them for the remaining 7. Again, I'm not saying that's going to happen, like they have 3 cards in hand, I don't know what's in their hand, but I think they're dead in 2 if they don't do anything. I don't think I have enough mana to kill them this turn, but I think that they're dead over a couple of turns. They don't have a flyer or reach creature, right? I don't think so. I'll be a decent citizen and won't make them decide what to block the ground creature with. Now, I don't want the Strongbow to die, so does it matter whether I play the Mountain here? How much mana will I have open? The Springleaf and whatever I play. So it's going to die to Unleash, and it's not going to die to the deal 3. So I guess I can use the Wilds. Because either way, it's dying to deal 5 and not dying to deal 3. I mean, I guess there's a deal 4 at uncommon I'm exposing it to. Maybe that's wrong. But I mean, it's not like there's no value in using a Stronghold here while I can. I might need all my mana next turn, too. I have to bring the Cohort back and stuff. Not 100% sure if I can. Yeah, I can, because I can, like, Springleaf Drum here, end of turn. So then burn them to 6. And then I can sack the Cohort, and the other 2 artifacts is 3. Bring the Cohort back, sack that again, that's 2. And the 1/1 is 1, and the Drum is 0. So I think I have exactly enough. So if they don't kill anything and I don't lose an artifact, I can sack the 5 artifacts that are currently in play, plus the Cohort when I unearth it, plus the 1/1 it leaves behind. I may also not have quite enough mana to do that next turn, but I think I do. So I can sack 1 here end of turn. So I have to sack 6 on their turn, plus unearth the Cohort, so that's 9 mana. And I have 3, 5, 6. The land in my hand is 7, and the Drum is 8. Ooh, I might be 1 short of next turn. So I might not be able to kill them yet next turn. Well, if I get Power Stones, I can, and I don't care at all about these Power Stone Engineers. So this actually turns on lethal for me by a lot if they can't kill the Strongbow. I can also use the Power Stones for mana before sacking them. So, hopefully they can't kill the Strongbow. If not, life is good. If so, well, I've got more Strongbows. Okay, so they could kill the Strongbow. I can sack something in response. Do I want to? I'm about to get my blue source, so maybe I sack the Drum. How many more Strongbows do I have? I know I have 3 in the deck. Have they killed any yet? No, so I have 2 more Strongbows. Yeah, so I think we can just let this happen, right? I don't see a reason to put them to 6 in response. So the game does continue, but got 2 outs with the 2 Strongbows. I've still got all those rares that I was hoping to draw. Of course, I draw the one that doesn't work at the moment, but, you know, that's magic. I don't know how many mana I'm going to use in 1 turn. I don't have anything that discards lands to draw cards or anything, I don't think, so I'm just going to play that. If the Cohort comes back and it makes the Soldier token, that will trigger this. So if I can block with the Cohort, that's nice. Wow, I don't think I have that many ways to remove that. Do I have any? Did I just lose the game to a Platinum Angel out of nowhere? It's hexproof too, right? What the heck? What just happened? I thought I was winning. Like, even after they had the removal for the Strongbow, whatever. I have 2 more Strongbows in my deck. I have, like, all the Lords and Rares. I thought I was going to... I don't think I can win. I just got Platinum Angeled. It now has hexproof. What is going on? Do I even have the ability to deck them or anything? Like, I know they can't lose with it out, but, like, you know, can I turn the table eventually? I don't have any artifact kill. Like, you can't literally deck them, but if they ran out of cards and they had nothing to do, then, you know, I could draw my whole deck to find the answers, is what I meant. But, like, I can't do anything. I'm just literally dead. Well, that was cool. I think I'm dead if I'm not missing anything. Didn't expect that one. That was a good game until Platinum Angel. I mean, I could have tried to leave enough mana up to protect the Strongbow, but I don't think the one Evolving Wilds was the difference. And it was pretty much Xaxes. I had to sack those two things that were dying that turn, the Flyer and the Soldier. And I had two more Strongbowls, so I wasn't like, you know, I was under no real pressure. So if they burned out the Strongbow, I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I'll crack the Wilds. I have 15 cards in my deck or whatever. I'll draw my Lords, my Rares, or another Strongbow soon, you know. I don't think I played that wrong. I might have, but I don't think so. I think that was just kind of a crazy Platinum Angel win out of nowhere. Like, I don't know. Oh, another perfect hand of no plains, no island, just mountains. Why are my draws like this today? Try and do something, you know, for the Magic community, make a video, and this is how they punish me, the Magic gods. This hand would be perfect if I had a plains. Could just go 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop. Look at this hand, it's beautiful. Can I keep this? I'm on the play, I've got the 3-drop. I guess if I don't draw the plains till turn 4, it's not that bad. I should probably mold this, right? I mean, white's my main color. I have 3 white cards. Well, I could cast Cohort without a plains, actually. So maybe I keep this. I'm nothing if not greedy. But no, I mean, in all seriousness, I would have molded this if Cohort was white to cast. But since bringing it back is a late game thing, and on turn 4, you know, I can cast it even if I draw an island or mountain. I think this is a keep, but maybe it's not. I'm not really sure. Of course, the 4th mountain before the first plains, because why not? I mean, I guess that's that. I have a 4-drop and then a 5-drop potentially. This is not a good trade. Their creature's not always going to grow. Plus, I have a blocker. All right, no real decisions here. I'm going to play the 4-drop because even though I might end up with nothing to do, like, I'm not going to take this turn off by playing the Evolving Wilds to play Precursor next turn. Like, I almost want to give them a chance to use removal or something before Precursor. And if I draw a land, I can play Precursor anyway. And the Cohort was a really effective card this turn. So, I mean, I definitely want to play the Cohort and see what I get. Plus, if I draw plains, I want to go fetch an island. Okay, so now, though, I don't really want to trade with the Vanguard because then the Puppeteer will bring it back. So maybe I just chill. It's not great. Oh, I guess I could send the Strongbow. If they block with the Puppeteer, I'll happily sack something. And if they block with the Vanguard, that's just a free kill. So I can send the Strongbow. I can't send the Cohort. I mean, I can. They'll trade with the Vanguard, but then the Puppeteer will just bring it back when it dies. But the Strongbow is like a free-ish attack. I mean, it's not like I'll never trade with the Vanguard because they can bring it back. Obviously, I recognize with Puppeteer, they can, like, Jalem Tomb or whatever this is. Yeah, Jalem Tomb. They're going to get a creature in their yard to bring back. But still, like, I don't want to just give it to them on an even trade. Let's make them put it there anyway. So what are we doing? Again, we could attack with the Strong Bull. They have their mana up, so it's a little scarier. I don't think there's that much they could have. They could have like a Disfigure. We definitely have to get Plains here. As much as I want to get my splash mana, I have white cards in hand and in play to bring back. Well, that's nice. Forgot I had that card in my deck. Okay, so that makes me want to be a little bit more conservative. Not conservative, but a little bit more. With a white and a black up, what can they do? There's the like white instant trick that gives like Hexproof and Indestructible. There's Disfigure. There's Go for the Throat. Go for the Throat could be annoying if they block the Strong Bull. And then I like sack something and then they Go for the Throat it. I don't know if I want to take that risk. I don't think there's really anything for a white and a black here in a turn that kills Dispenser. I think I'm just going to take this turn off. Maybe this is too conservative, but I'm kind of scared to attack. And there's also like the deal 3. I mean, that wouldn't really work because I could just sack again. But I'm kind of scared to attack with the Strong Bull. They might go block, I sack, they Go for the Throat, and then I only have 4 up and I can't do anything good this turn. I just play like a 1/1 Thresher when I'm 2 lands away from playing it as a 3/3. On the other hand, I can play Dispenser, draw a card. Now they have to answer this or I'm drawing 2 cards a turn. And then Go for the Throat doesn't hit it, obviously, if they had that. They probably don't, but if they did. And then now they have to do things or I'm drawing 2 cards a turn. I'm cool with that. And I'll overrun them very soon. I mean, I have Precursor. And there's not a lot of instants and sorceries they can really target this Precursor with out of black-white, because it's only instants and sorceries. So, I mean, Disfigure doesn't work. The white enchantment, like Prison Sentence or whatever it's called, that doesn't work. There's just like the 1 black common that exiles anything, I think. Okay, so can I send the Dispenser? It would trade with the Puppeteer. Did they discard a creature to get back? Yeah, but it's a frontliner. That's an option. It's kind of a risky block for them. Could just play Precursor. I mean, drawing 2 cards a turn is gas. I do have a mana to sack to the Strong Bull now, though. I feel a lot more inclined to attack now for some reason. Like, what are they going to do? There's the white trick I said. There's Disfigure. There's the deal 3 to a tap creature, gain 2, which doesn't do much. Go for the Throat on the Strong Bull, but now it wouldn't be stymieing my turn. Like, they would just, sure, like I sack a 1/1 or something. They kill it, but then I still get to play Precursor. I don't know. I don't know what they could really have, but I think this is a good attack because the frontliner gives +1/+1 to the Dispenser, which is really important because now they have no block on the creature I don't want to die. And then like I can sack like a 1/1 if they want to eat them to the bowl, deal them a bunch of damage. Like I'm cool with that. So should I give +2 to everything? No, this is better because I want to play Precursor pre-combat, post-combat, and I don't care about these little creatures at all. So let's see what they're going to do. Look at the 6 Soul Read. How did I know they had Go for the Throat? I'm very proud of myself for this one. And you might be saying, well, why attack if they have that? Look, I'm not 100% they had it, but at last turn, it would have really messed up my turn. Instead of playing a bomb 5-drop that attacked for 5 this turn and drew me a card, and it's about to draw me another card, I would have had to play like a weak card I didn't really want to play. It would have really messed up my turn. Now, I dealt them 9, 10 damage, because I still got a sack for damage and all of that, and I played another good 5-drop, and I'm drawing extra turns. So that's how you work through the Go for the Throat. You let them play it on a turn where it's not very impactful, compared to the turn before where it would have really messed me up. I'm glad in my old age I still got it once in a while, you know? I can't have it every game like I did when I was 20, you know? But I still got it once in a while. I'm pretty pleased with myself for that one, I'm not going to lie. It's an uncommon. It's not the easiest read. Okay, so let's see. So what are my options now? I can play Trooper and pump everything, or I can play like Frontliner and use Onslaught to pump everything. I think Onslaught to pump everything is better. I mean, they're like super dead now. 7 attackers and they're all getting +2/+0. And even if they have a trick, they're still losing their creatures too, so it's not a big deal. Pump the smallest one and let them block how they want this time. Last time I pumped the 4/6 because I didn't want them to put 6 on it. Now I don't really care anymore. We've entered a different stage of the game. I guess they could have the deal 3 instant. Maybe I shouldn't have sent the real precursor. I might have gotten a little overzealous, because then they'll gain all that life and they might not be dead. I don't know if they could have that here or not, but this might have been a bad attack. I might have been patting myself on the back a little too much for playing around the go for the throat. So let's see. Am I presenting lethal? Yes. So first we can pass and make them do something. Okay, it's just a disfigure. So that's not going to stop us. +2/+0 to everything is going to kill them. So the thing is, it's not like I wouldn't attack, because there's no reason to put them on the deal 3 here. The deal 3 to a tap creature gain 2. But only the real precursor has that ability. The golems don't, where if you target one, you target all. So what I could have done was sent everything but the real precursor, and that might have been correct. I would have had to actually count whether the deal 3 would have kept them alive. If I just don't send the precursor and I send the other 6 creatures, then there's 4 getting through. So if they deal 3, gain 2 to one of them, they go up to what, like 14, and then there's 3 getting through, and then I give them all +2. So 3, 5, 6, 12, it'd be really tight. But that would still be really good for me, whereas deal 3, gain 2 to all 3 golems might have let them claw back into that game. So that I probably shouldn't have sent the real precursor on the last turn. I'm still proud of the go for the throat, but I think on the last turn, the right play was to attack with everything except the actual precursor, to deny them the ability to get that triple cast on that spell. Because then it gains 6, too. It makes copies. Is it so much to ask to draw like a mountain, a plains, a spring leaf, an island, you know, a decent curve, just a normal hand, you know? I don't think we've done that once in the 4 games we've played. All right. It's not perfect. I don't have a 1 or 2 drop, but I can't complain. It's pretty much what I asked for. And I am lacking 2 drops. That is one of the flaws with this draft deck. That's a nice draw. That lets us play Cohort turn 3. And then if we draw 1 land, we can play Dispenser and draw a card on turn 4. That'll be pretty sweet. For us, maybe not for the opponent. Okay, I don't really see any decisions. There's no reason we're going to play Strongbow over Cohort here. If they attack, I would normally double block. I mean, it would be a decent trade for the Cohort. I can bring it back. I don't think I'm going to hear because I have the Dispenser, though, right? You just tap the 1/1, the 4 lands, and the drum, play the Dispenser, hit for 4, and draw a card. That's got to be better. So I can't block in this spot. If not for the Dispenser, I might block. Nice to start drawing my Broken Mythic. Look, I would prefer if Rares and Mythics didn't exist, but I mean, I lost a game to Platinum Angel. My opponents get to have them too, so you got to play the cards in the packs. But if they ever did like a Benes format, I don't know if you've seen on Arena, but they've done like some of these special wacky formats with a twist. The Benes format is no Rares or Mythics in the packs. None. You open the same packs, the Rare and the Mythic are just gone. Draft and play, Pauper limited. You can have uncommons. I'm a generous, overseer. Okay, so what do we want to do here? Strong Bowl. Oh, the Lord looks good. Everything we have out's a soldier. Yeah, we probably just slammed that, right? And then the one question is, So they're not going to have a block on the Survivor. Do we want to attack with the Cohort and let them trade with the Thraxodemon since the Cohort comes back? Or do we want to tap the Cohort for mana and send the 1/1, and then they have to take 2 or trade with a 1/1 token? I think it's actually a reasonably good trade, though, because the Cohort's going to come back from the dead. And I want to make this like a grindy game, because like this comes back and draws cards. Well, maybe not. I also have Strongbow and a Flyer. Maybe I kind of winning from all angles at the moment. I mean, they have 4 cards in hand. I'm not saying I'm definitely going to win. But so the real choice here is, right, if I tap the Cohort for mana and attack with these 2, then they would have to trade way down with a 1/1 or take the hit. Or I can tap the 1/1 for mana and then force them to trade with the Cohort. So it's a close call, right? I think I'm going to take the trade because the Cohort's going to come back and make another 1/1, and I've got Dispenser to come back and draw a card and make a 1/1, and I've got a Flyer, and I've got a Strongbow. Like, I've got a lot going on. So I think I'm going to just force the trade. But it might have been right to tap the Cohort and attack with these 2, and then they'd basically be 2 life lower, and they would have Thraxoderm, and I would have Cohort out. Thraxodemon, not Oderm. So that stymied the aggression pretty good. For now. So I guess we just play our 3-drops. This doesn't actually seem like there's much to it to think about. We can bring the other stuff back whenever. We want to get the Flyer going. I also would ideally bring back the Dispenser when I have 8 so that I can make a 1/1, but that's not like crucial. Although, an extra 1/1 attack to the Bull could allow the Bull to attack into the Stalker, so you never know. I can't sack it for damage. I don't have a mana. Yuck. Another Puppeteer? I just played against this card. Okay, so can I do anything with these Strongbowls? These have been worse than I expected in this deck. I guess I don't make a million tokens. Like, some decks do. And just have, like, more cantripy artifacts and stuff. Like, I've had some red-black decks where the Strongbowls were incredible, but honestly, I've had a lot of red-white decks where the Strongbowls felt really good, too. The thing is, my deck's more of a synergy combo deck than an aggro deck, I guess. So that's why they've been kind of medium for me. I think if you're like red-white with a decent amount of little artifacts and really aggro, then they're still very good, like almost as good as red-black. I guess my deck is a little bit... the Strongbowls are just still almost as good in that red-white aggro with all the soldier tokens as they are in red-black. But I guess my deck's kind of like more of a combo-ish deck with my rares and my lords and so on. Anyway, I don't care about sacking the drum. So can I send the Strongbow? What do they get back off of the 4/3? The Thraxodemon? Nah, I think I'm just going to chill for now. Like, they're not drawing 2 cards a turn. I don't want to give them the Thraxodemon. I'm 1 land away from bringing back Dispenser, and then I can make a 1/1 token that will be here to stay. Not that that's a huge deal, but nothing's really happening in a rush at the moment. Well, that's an interesting one. So, I want to kill the Puppeteer. They'll get back the Demon. I mean, I don't really have anything to sack. I could bring the Dispenser out and attack with it. And then if they take the 4, I get in 4. If they block it with the 4/5, I can finish the 4/5 off with the Explosion. That looks pretty good. And if they trade anything for the Dispenser, that's good. I know I get a card if it lives, but if it kills one of their creatures, that's better. So maybe that's the play here. I mean, I miss out on the 1/1, but I may not have another good window to do this. And if I get to Excavation Explosion, the Trench Stalker, I'm going to be really happy. And if I don't, then I'll just get my card end of turn, and then I'll sack it to the Strongbow. Let me set a stop on my end step. Let's go to my end step. Okay, so trigger on the stack. Draw a card. And then let's sack it to the bull. No reason to miss a point of damage. Not the best, not the worst. Ooh, the beachhead pumps all soldiers too. Still have this annoying 4/5 though. Oh, I guess the beachhead plus the cohort works, right? The cohort's going to be a 4/2 because of the tactician. So if I had enough mana, I could have it attack for 5 with the beachhead and the tactician. 3 to bring back, 6 to use this, 5 and tap, so that's 9. I have 7. No, I have 6, 7, 8. So I'm 1 mana short of that. Okay, so I'll wait till next turn to do that then. So, are they dead? I'm forgetting that I can just burn them out again with these strong bulls and the explosion and stuff. I mean, I don't have enough mana this turn, but next turn they're pretty much just dead. So, I'll just hit them with this and then sack it and then prepare to burn them out next turn, right? And I actually want to be kind of coy about it because, I don't want them to trigger the Puppeteer or the Trench Stalker or anything. Because they don't know I have this explosion. So it doesn't look like I can 6 them, right? But I can because of the explosion. So that's going to give them a life because they lose 1, gain 2. And then the question is, do they attack with the Trench Stalker? If so, I'm definitely not going to be able to burn them out anymore immediately. But I might just be able to alpha or something. It's going to get interesting. If they bricked this turn, they were just dead. 3 for the explosion, 3 for the cohort. They were at 6, and then 3 sacks. And I could have sacked like the soldier end of turn, so I have enough mana. Now that they played that, everything's a little different. They just gained 1, and then now the Trench Stalker has lifelink. Oh, I can just block the Trench Stalker with the soldier token and sack it. And then they won't gain life. They're not going to be able to give it trample. So that'll put them right back to 6. Now I might be 1 short then, though. Well, I'll probably do that anyway, right? Well, maybe not. I should figure it out. So let's say I block with the soldier token. I sack it to the strongbow, so the lifelink doesn't matter. They go to 6. I untap 3 for the explosion. And then I have out the drum, the power stone from the explosion. I've got 5 mana, counting the drum, left. 3 to bring back the cohort, so I would need 1 more mana. Yeah, I'm 1 mana short, but there's nothing I can sack in a turn. I can't sack the drum in a turn, or I won't get a mana from it on my turn, so that's the same. But if I draw a land, they're dead. If I don't draw a land, I can probably just alpha and burn them out kind of the same way. So I think, unless they have more relevant cards, I can still just burn them out. Because I'm a mana short of doing it just straight up without combat, but I also have 5 creatures plus the cohort makes 6. Now, I can't necessarily lose both strong bulls, but I probably can sack like the 1/1 to ping them and the Springleaf to ping them or something. Well, that actually works because it's cheap. So I can just go explosion them, get a power stone, frontliner, and then sack, 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 and kill them, right? I can sack the drum, the frontliner, and the power stone. So I'm just going to go for it like this. I mean, I guess they could play a draw 2 in response. If they play the blue instant draw 2 and drain me for 2 with the Puppeteer in response, that could be bad. They'll have 4 blockers to my 5 attackers, so I can get in the extra 2 anyway, and they don't have a lifelinker up. Okay, so they would still be dead, right? Because, like, I can burn them to exactly 0 right now, so the only card I can really think of that's super relevant is draw 2, discard 1, make a Power Stone. But if they do that, they will then have 4, they'll be tapped out, they'll be at 2 life, and they'll have 4 blockers, none of which have lifelink, to my 5 attackers, all of which have 2 power. So I think this works, even if they have the draw 2, discard 1, right? I sack these 3 artifacts over here. I'm tapped out. They're at 0. They gain 2 because they trigger the Puppeteer by drawing 2 cards. So they go to 2. And then they have 1, 2, 3, 4 blockers. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attackers, all of which have 2 power. So we win even if they have that card. And obviously removal didn't really work because of multiple strong bulls and so on. Maybe I want to cut like one Strongbow. Like I said, I think Strongbow's a good card in these decks generally, even in red-white, not just red-black. But I think my deck is kind of more of like a power synergy type deck. It's not like really an aggro deck, even though I do burn people out. And I still want access to these Strongbows. Like, I just don't know that I want 3 in this deck. Granted, my last couple cuts were not impressive cards. What should I play? Could try one more Onslaught. Still another expensive card. I mean, I think Strongbow is probably better for me than Medic. I don't have, like, a ton of ways to pump my creatures. Maybe it's still just the right card. Let's try the Juggernaut. I have been burning people out, and a lot of games coming down to Xaxes. I do like Juggernaut. I just figured, again, I wasn't really that much of a straight aggro deck, but those have been kind of mediocre. Let's bring in one more big Jugs. Play it turn 4, turn 3, 3-2, turn 4 Juggernaut, or trade off an Engineer on turn 3 and then play the Juggernaut on turn 4. Well, we have Mountains, Plains, 2-drop, and 3-drop. It's not a powerful hand, but at least I'm not mana screwed. It's always nice. It would be very wise to start this match. That's my opponent's name, so it was a clever pun. So starting with the 2-drop because it hits harder, and if I force a trade early with it, that's great. Not that I'm really ramping too much at the moment, but can always end up sacking them to Strongbowls and stuff later. I don't really love trading with these, but I guess it's still denying them a card. And then post-combat I can play the Thresher. I could hold the Thresher for a few turns, try and play it as a 3-3, but I think I need more business. This doesn't feel great, but I think it's still probably correct. Like, I do have a lot of uses for the Power Stone. I have plenty of expensive artifacts in the deck. And at the end of the day, those sack to draw a card, mine does something when it leaves play. Theirs does something by being sacrificed, which they can't do if it trades. Mine gives me my value when it trades, when it dies. So I think that was a good attack. As probably evident by them not blocking. Well, that was a reason for not blocking. They had a 4-4 for this turn. Okay, so if I attack with Thresher and they block and I Whirling Strike, I'll kill their elite, but I'll still lose my Thresher, so that's not good. So the only question is, do I want to send the Engineer or not? If I send the Engineer, they're almost definitely not going to block. I'm telegraphing the trick, but I'm getting 2 damage. Is that worth telegraphing the trick? Yeah, probably. And for all they know, it's an Excavation Explosion or something, so I don't think they're going to block. So I think I'm effectively telling them I have this trick to deal them 2. And I think that's okay. And if they do block, I'm quite happy. I can use all my mana because I have the 2-drop. Like, obviously, if they didn't block, I would play the Infantry post-combat. But if they do block like that, I have the Paratrooper to play. So I can use all my mana. And I took out a big 4-4 that was stopping me from attacking. So I think it was worth attacking in that spot. I am kind of surprised they blocked. People just think everyone's always bluffing, I guess. Well, I guess they had another 4-4, but still doesn't seem like a very good exchange for them. Okay, so now I can attack with Paratrooper and Thresher. If they block Thresher with their 4-4, I pump. It's a pretty good trade, a 1-1 double striker for a 4-4. If they take it, I'm not going to pump. I'm just going to play my 2 creatures post-combat. So if they don't block, I'm not going to pump for the extra 3 damage. I'll just let them take 3. And then I can spend all 5 mana on my creatures. If they do block, I don't mind trading a 1/1 double striker for a 4/4. Help clear the way. And it's just a big trade up. It's not like I have a ton of ways to pump that. They're still thinking about whether to attack and offer the trade. Okay, I guess they were thinking about whether to the desk. Like, the trade got better for them because my 2/1 is really a 3/2 now, so it can actually take out both of these, not just one of them. So I wouldn't, if they had attacked with combat couriers on the last turn, I wouldn't block because now, like, I can attack, and if they want to take out the engineer, they have to double block it. If they block it with one, I just get a free kill. But again, if they take it, then I'm going to play my creatures. I'm not going to pump. That's why the Paratrooper's ability is so good. Because, like, even though it's on board, so it's not really a trick, you know, unless you just flashed it in, you get the value of having the ability to pump your creatures so they can't block. And then you get to spend, you don't pump, you just spend your mana post-combat playing things. So, like, the Paratrooper just dealt them 3 damage, right? Because if the Paratrooper's not in play, this is why this card is so much better than it looks. Let's say the Paratrooper was not, like, here, it was just, like, whatever. 2/2 stops 1/2, 1/1 stops 2/1. I deal them no damage. So my 2-mana 1/2 flyer dealt them 3 damage on turn 6 or 7 without me spending mana to pump it. It's not like I had to pay 5 mana to deal them 3 damage. I paid 0 mana and dealt them 3 damage. So imagine this was 2-mana 1/2 flash, pay 0, deal them 3 damage. I'm not saying that's what it does, but that is what it did last turn. And that kind of showcases the power of the card. Okay, so here, I can't put the trooper into combat. They can just play any cantrip and eat it. But I think I can just send the cohort and the 2 engineers and let them block, right? And then I can just pump my team. That just can't work out badly for me. I mean, I guess another option is to explosion the commando, but then I don't, and I get to play the infantry, but then I don't have mana to pump with the paratrooper. So I can't attack with either engineer because I'm just trading them for the 1/1s when they're really 3/2s now. So that seems bad. And I don't know if this paratrooper is always going to live, but I know explosion is pretty much always going to be able to kill commando. So I think the right play here is just this attack, where there's no really good blocks for them or anything. Like, even if they have one spell to play to grow this to a 3/3, it still just trades with any of these 3 creatures, which would be a great trade for me. And if they want to, like, throw courier in front of something and draw a card, okay, cool. Like, the other line for this turn would have been explosion the commando, attack with just, like, the paratrooper, maybe the paratrooper in the cohort, and then play the infantry post-combat. And that's a perfectly valid line because it adds to the board by more. But like I said, I don't know that I'm always going to have this paratrooper out to allow these engineers in cohort to attack profitably into the couriers. So I kind of wanted to use the paratrooper to do that now. I can always explosion the commando next turn and play the infantry later next turn. So this doesn't impact the board by quite as much, but it makes sure I get that, like, paratrooper value. Like, now they don't have any blockers, like, if I burn out the commando. I mean, I'm sure they're going to play stuff this turn, but I'm way ahead on board, so we'll see what they have. And it's kind of the same as last turn. Like, if that's all they're going to do, like, I can just attack with, like, the cohort and the engineers. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Now they don't have all those 1/1s out, so it's a little more appealing to try and explosion the commando. I'm just kind of worried they're going to have a trick. I think I'm just going to send the cohort and the engineers again. If they don't play anything, I don't even have to pump this time. I'll let them trade the mechanic for whichever one they want to block. This basically makes it so they're the one who has to blink first, right? Like, they have to play a trick to get me to use Paratrooper. So if they do that, I'll use Paratrooper or not, depending on how effective their trick is and whether it makes sense. If they just want to block and trade and take 5, I'm cool with that, and then I can play my 2 creatures post-combat. So, I mean, I'm not trying to run Explosion into a trick or give them a good turn. I'll just keep attacking, if, like, profitably if they leave their mana up, and let's, like, see what they want to do, you know? And it's not like, you know, it's not like I'm worried, like, if they don't do anything here, then I just get to dump 2 3-drops in play, and that's good too. And if they do something, then we'll see how effective against it Paratrooper is. Okay, and that makes sense, and it's perfectly good for me. We didn't let the 3/3 commando eat anything. This trade is pretty even. Now our board is not looking too impressive, so we'll dump back. We have to dump out our 3-drops. But after we do that, we'll have a bunch of good attackers to threaten them with again next turn. Well, that is a very powerful card. I'm not sure that that's going to be enough here. They look dead, but I don't know. All right, so if I attack with 5 creatures, one of which is Strongbow, 2 get through. If they let through like the 2 smallest, that puts them to 5. Then to the Strongbow, I can sack the Power Stone and the Cohort, put them to 3, and then burn them with the Explosion. So I don't see how they can live. If they let through the this thing, they're just obviously dead. I think they're just dead. I mean, not saying they did anything wrong. They don't know I have an Explosion in hand. But I have 7 to spend. I can use the Power Stone to fuel the bowl. I really don't see how they can survive this. Including the Explosion. Right. So now we just sack the Cohort. They take 2, they're at 5. 1 from the ping, they're at 4. Then we sack post-combat. And then we Explosion them to death. That was a pretty fun game, playing around the tricks. I don't even need the Explosion. I could just sack the 3 artifacts and play. Oh no, they're at 4. What am I saying? Obviously I had them, but it requires the Explosion. Maybe I could have just exploded pre-combat and then sacked the Power Stones and turned all 5 creatures, so they wouldn't have had to think about blockers. That would have been a little nicer, right? Because there wasn't any block they could make to live. Because I had 5 creatures to their 3, which means they're taking at least 2 in combat. So if I just go Explosion pre-combat, puts them to 4, sack the 2 Power Stones, they're at 2, and then turn all 5 creatures, they know they're dead no matter how they block, and I save them having to think about blockers. So that would have been the nice thing to do. I missed the line. I'll blame y'all for that, since I'm trying to organize my thoughts a little bit more and then narrate them and, you know, give a lot of good insights here. But that's the classy, respectable thing to do there, you know? To Explosion them pre-combat and then sack the 2 stones so that they can see they're dead on board. And they don't have to think about blockers. That's what I call the classy play, you know? I could have that 1-2, but I don't know. Maybe they don't. I don't want to just miss damage here out of fear. Get rich or die trying. Don't actually. Be conservative with important things in real life, but take risks when playing Magic. Okay. Well, again, they didn't have it last turn, so unless they drew it this turn, I don't think they're going to have it. I don't really know what they're going to have. Feels like they're not doing much, but I can't play my 4-drop, so I'm not going to really overdevelop or anything here. I'll put my Paratrooper out, assuming they cast something. I do need 1 land, then I can start playing Cohorts. Can't do anything about that. We're not going to sack in response, obviously. But we can continue adding to the board now that we drew land 4. All right, that's a big creature. Do we have an attack on the ground? Not really. So if they block the 3-1, the 1-1 pumps something, so I get in 3 extra damage. So like they're taking 1 in the air no matter what and going to 12. And if I send these 3 and I pump the flyer, basically the 3/6 eats the 3/1, and they take 3 more damage and go to 9. Do I want to sack the cohort to deal them 3? I don't think so. Maybe next turn I'll have a bigger alpha with more stuff. You know, I'm playing another cohort, but it doesn't seem great this turn. I'm probably gonna. They'll probably stabilize now, and then I'll draw Juggernaut and wish it was a strong bull to burn them out with. Well, that plan doesn't look great either. They're all the way back to 18. Okay, well, that's a decent draw. I would have probably rather just had a land, played the dispenser, and drawn 2 cards, but that means I can attack on the ground with the 3/1s. And in that case, I think I'm just going to attack with everything. I don't think they're going to block a 1/1 instead of a 3/1 to play around the burn spell. But if they do, I'm dealing them so much damage, right? Like, if they want to eat, like, Yoshin Frontliner, they'll just take, like, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then I'll play Conscripted Infantry. And, like, I'm cool with that. And if they block a 3/1, then I can Whirling Strike and kill the 6/5 that way. And they don't know I have a trick. This isn't a spot where a trick is telegraphed. They might think to themselves, well, the opponent's just going to throw away a 3/1 to deal me all this damage, 3, 5, 7 other damage, basically, because the 3/1 comes back anyway. So sometimes your tricks are telegraphed, and sometimes they're not. In this case, it's not. Like, they could reasonably think I would make this alpha, regardless of whether or not I had a Whirling Strike in my hand. So I thought they'd probably block the 3/1. So that's part of why I sent everything. Although the real reason was just, like, I would be happy if they blocked a 1/1, because I would deal them a ton and then just play a 3/1 and keep the Whirling Strike for later. So basically, that was a good spot for me to all-out attack either way. Of course, it's never easy, huh? It's never easy. So now I don't have the trick. So do I all-out attack? So either I hit them for 1 in the air and they go to 15, or I can send everything. They eat a cohort and they take 1, 2. I'm just counting the frontliners. 2, 3, 6, 8. So it's an additional 7, and the total damage is 8, which will put them down to 8. That seems worth it. That was a pretty aggressive attack by them with that 3/6. And I didn't even draw a land. If I drew a land, I could pump everything. They probably just have like another golem or something. Like they're going to get this one back and replay it. Because they were clearly not scared of getting alpha'd to pretty low. Like, even if I drew a land, I didn't have lethal. But, I mean, +5 damage. Like, they'd be at 3 right now. It's pretty weird that they weren't scared of getting that low, unless they, like, had, like, another golem or something to go way back up. Okay, so they can activate this as a 2/2. So I need a land to pump, which I don't have. So you know what I think I'll do this turn? Play the Strong Bull, and then I'll attack with the Paratrooper and the Frontliner, so I can pump the Trooper into a 2/3, and then I can sack the Frontliner. So I'm basically, I have no attack, or I have this attack. So what I'm basically doing is sacking the Frontliner to deal them 3, which I think is worth it, right? I mean, I guess they could have a trick. Is this too risky? Yeah, maybe it's too risky. If they just have like a removal or a trick, I get blown out. I was thinking they had to use their 2 mana to activate the statue, and they'd only have 1 mana up with the drum, but they also had the Clear Cutter up. So they had access to like 4 mana to play an instant there. It still might have been right to go for it, because I mean, I could burn them out theoretically. The 3 there, plus start sacking all the rest of the artifacts. But if they don't have an instant, unless they top deck one, I'm going to be able to do that anyway. And they are black, like they might recur the golem and gain more life or something. And I have a good hand. It's not like I have nothing but lands and like I'm losing on the ground. The ground's a stalemate, and I have Precursor Golem and Dispenser in hand, so I should mostly just chill, right? I don't want to be making risky plays when my hand is this good. Well, it's sort of a land. And, like, my ground blocks are pretty solid. The infantry's a great blocker. Just going to put out my stuff, start drawing 2 a turn. And then I'll play Precursor, and then I'll alpha for the win or something. But maybe we've hit the point where I can start throwing 1/1s at them. But I probably would rather do that during an alpha strike. I mean, unless they're going to play a sweeper here, I think this game is over. Next turn, I'm just attacking with every single thing. Even if they kill all the precursors, I still get the 3 points of drain with the Strong Bull. And I also have the Yoshin Tactician to pump, like, a lot of my creatures, especially all the smallest ones. Like, I really don't know how this could go badly for me. Actually, it's probably not even better to play the Tactician. I can pay 1 more mana and pump everything with the Paratrooper. But I think they're dead. I'm turning them all. I'm Paratroopering. I'm burning them out. How many blockers do they have? 8, 6, 7, 8. And I have 3, 6, 9, 12 attackers. Oh yeah, they're super dead. I'm not scared of the removal anymore. Oh, I guess it's even less scary to just burn them out. 2 end a turn, and then do I have 6 more artifacts? 4. Yeah, I kind of do. So the only question is, which way do I kill them? Is there any instant life gain? Because if I just start burning them one at a time, I mean, I can sack the 2 1/1s end a turn, or I can sack the precursor and a 1/1 end a turn, and then if I just untap with all my mana, they're dead, right? Well, I can even do the sacks one at a time. So if I have 1 more than lethal to sack, yeah, and I do, I have 9, then it's not even, that's even less risky, because they have to do it now before I untap. So, I mean, I would definitely alpha if not for the Strong Bull, and they would definitely be dead to the alpha, but this is just even less risky. If I untap, like, and play a land, I can ping them off 1 at a time, and I have 1 extra artifact in land to spare, so if they play something that gains life or would kill the Strong Bull or something, I can just go back to pinging in response. So there's just no issue here, right? Like, they'd have to have 2 different life gain cards to live. So it feels kind of weird sacking all my permanents, but I think this is the safer path. I don't think there's a way they can possibly live through this. Hopefully I'm not wrong, because it would be an embarrassing way to lose, but I don't think it's possible. You understand what I keep rambling about is, like, so I have 5 artifacts and 5 lands up, and they're at 4 after that ping. So let's say I tap 1 and sack an artifact, and they go, aha, in response, play a card that gains 2 life. I can just respond to that by pinging them 4 times. So for them to be able to live, they would have to have 2 different cards that gain life at instant speed there, which is just absurd. They could have played 1 end of their turn, like when I was, only had the 2 mana, but then I wouldn't have sacked my team. Then I would just untap, play a land, alpha, pump, etc., and I'd win that way. So I think that was actually the safer of the 2 paths. Granted, I think the alpha would have worked too. Okay, I mean, we don't have a red, but we've got our splash, and of course, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a hand we can never think about mulliganing. I need to get that in play. So, this is interesting, right? I don't normally even think about playing Evolving Wilds in spots like this, because I just figure I'll play it at some point. But I actually really want to play turn 4 Precursor Golem, right? That's pretty sick. And my curve is 1, 2, 3, 4 now. Like, what turn before 4? The reason you don't normally play Evolving Wilds in spots like this is because you're like, like I might draw an on-tap land anyway. But this is just a 1/1. And playing this turn 4 seems like it has a ton of value. So I think I'm just going to Evolving Wilds for the mountain here. And miss out on the 1-drop that would probably deal 2 damage. This Survivor has not been good. I probably shouldn't have done it exactly like that. Like, I could have just played these lands, not shown them Survivor, given I'm, not playing the Survivor over the next couple turns. I don't think that play matters much, but you never know. But I'll tell you this. Oh, wait, free Yoshin Soldier. I forgot about that. Yoshin Frontliner. But they're going to either kill Precursor or die, because that's turn 4, 3/3/3s. I mean, there's Excavation Explosion. There's not like a ton of removal. That's a card they could certainly have. But any waiting, I feel like, would mostly just be giving them time to draw it. So let's do that. And then I'm going to attack with the 3/2. It's a profitable trade for the 4/3. But I played the Golem first, because if they blocked and I couldn't play the Golem this turn, I would be very, very upset. So let's see. Do they target it? Hopefully not. That's not targeting it. Looks like we've got an army of Golems to attack with next turn. And now their creatures are generally going to be doing useful things blocking. So I'm not really concerned about the frontliner, so I'm just going to attack with everything. And then I can use the frontliner to pump the Power Stone Engineer, so it turns into another useful attacker. And they can have a free kill on the frontliner. I don't care about that. Maybe I'm supposed to play the Yoshin Tactician first, but I don't actually think so. I think I want to get the Strong Bull and the Survivor out this turn. The Tactician wasn't pumping much. It was pumping, like, only the frontliner, I think. They just didn't have land 5, and they found it off of the Chaplain, I guess. Well, whatever. Either way, they didn't have land 5 last turn. Okay, so now if I bring out the frontliner and I attack with all 4 of my creatures, I can actually play the star too. They're at 8. Can they afford to take the bull? So if they block, like... Well, I can pump the engineer into a 3/2. So they can't take the bull and the engineer and block the survivor. They'd definitely be dead. So looks like I get the free kill and I get a bunch of damage and life is good. Let me make sure I don't just have lethal. Well, I guess I don't really have to make sure. Like, so I play the star, I attack with everything. Say I pump the engineer. If they let these 2 through, I can, these 3 through, that's 4. And then post-combat, 5, 6. So they're not dead. So I don't think I have lethal this turn, but I also think they can't possibly block this 1/1. Then they would take 5, 6, 7, 8. But they don't know about the 8th if I don't play the star first. So it's really important that I don't play the star first here. So this makes them believe they can potentially block the survivor here and go to 2 and then get pinged to 1 and then die. They don't know that I have a chromatic star to kill them post-combat. So on board, they have a choice, like... I guess I would rather sack the star to the bull. Now I'm going to have to sack the frontliner, so maybe this was a little too fancy. But no, not really, because I can just sack the star to the bull next turn anyway, and there's a chance I'll actually kill them. There's a chance they'll block survivor, because I am a point short on board. And then if they block the bull, I'm happy to sack frontliner here to kill their dwarven whatever. Like, this is unearthed. It's practically a free kill. Like, I would have rather sacked the star, but not by that much. Like, it's whatever. I now still have the star to sack to the bull, and I have another bull. It's not like if they kill my bull, then I don't have that trick. So maybe I should have played the star first. Maybe that was a little too fancy. But it gave them the ability to lose the game outright by going for the free kill on the 1/1 first strike instead of the chump block, basically, on the strong bull. So I don't know. I think there was value there. Okay, so now they're at 3. So if I attack with everything... I can sack this, they're at 2, but that's still not lethal. So I think I have to chill for 1 turn. Oh, no, the engineer. Maybe they were dead. But they could put the... No, because like the 2/3 would die in combat. I can only turn it into a 3/4. Because they could put the 4/4 on the 2/3, the 2/1 on the engineer. They couldn't let the 2 power through, or they'd be dead. I just immediately sack the star. But if I attack with all 3 creatures, they go Onulet on Strong Bull, Thopter on Engineer, And then I think they win from there. Okay, well, I'm not going to risk an accidental death here. I'm definitely blocking past that. I don't know what they have. Probably a concession. Whirling Strike would have put me low, but it's only +2, not +3. I mean, maybe I'm supposed to put a little more toughness on it than that, but I'm not winning by that much on board. I just have to chump that. So now they're dead on board, right? They're at 3. They have 1 blocker. I know I have the Strong Bull, but I don't even need it. Just turn my creatures. The Tyrant's incredible, but it doesn't have lifelink. All right, battled back from 1-2 to 6-2. Let's see if we can get the trophy. I mean, I thought this deck was good. I was pretty disappointed when I got those early losses to the Platinum Angel and some rough draws. Since we've been drawing well, we've been crushing. I got to take that Survivor out, right? That card has been, like, unplayable in this deck. Trophies on the line. We got to cut the flack. Not that any of these cards seem like they're going to be great in the deck. I don't know. We could try this Power Blade. I do run it sometimes when I have a lot of cheap soldiers. I have a lot of soldiers. They're just not all that cheap. I don't know what to bring in. Could bring that Strong Bull back. Just accept that I don't have very many early drops. Yeah, that's probably the right move. Maybe Unleash the Shell should be in. I'm just worried about having too many expensive cards. It is a 16-land deck. I guess Springleaf kind of makes it 17. But then I have a lot to spend my mana on. Like, you've seen a lot of these games, once I hit 5 or 6, I'm very rarely like, oh, wow, I have all this mana and nothing to do with it. I'm, like, unearthing things, and I'm sacking things, and I'm drawing extra cards. All right, 6-2, trophy on the line. Give me a good hand. Well, it's not a great hand, but I can't mull it. I have the 1 drop. It's not white to cast, and then I can cast all 3 of these. The reason it's not a great hand, well, I don't have a Plains. I don't have a blue card. I don't have an island. I don't have a Plains. I don't have any rares. I don't have any good cards. Just 4, like, solid commons. But, of course, you can't mull hands like this. Just gotta hope we'll draw, like, our cards in a good order. Draw, like, a Plains, then draw, you know, some good cards. I mean, I haven't drawn my rares a ton. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I have Urza, Tokasia's Welcome, and Dispenser, which I finally saw a couple times in the middle of the run. And Tokasia's Welcome turn 3 in a deck like this is totally busted. It's just draw 2 a turn the entire rest of the game. Because as you draw cards, you find more 3-drops. And I mean, I'm like I said, I'm not complaining. I'm 6-2. I was complaining a little bit when I was 1-2 or 2-2 and I had some rough draws. Obviously, I'm 6-2. Even if I go 6-3, that's a well above expected like value record. I would never complain. But it is true that I haven't seen my rares a ton. I haven't had Tokasia's Welcome turn 3 ever. I've drawn Dispenser like 2 or 3 times. Urza like once or twice when I could cast it. Well, that tells us the opponent does not have a 3-drop in hand. Because if you have a 3-drop in hand, you are not Excavation Explosioning an infantry. Well, I guess they could also have like a really good 5-mana artifact, but we definitely get some information from that. Like, you don't choose to play 3 mana, deal 3 to the 3/1 that leaves something behind when it dies, instead of playing a good 3-drop. Alright, so what are they going to do? They can't play the 5-mana bird, because this doesn't make mana for that. There isn't a 5-mana with Flash, I don't think. I guess we just attack and find out. I wish I had a blue to drop this Tactician right now. +4 him. There is a sweeper that does 3 to everything. But I can play around that okay with Strong Bull and leave 1 up. Because they're really not doing much here. And they're exploding 3/1s that leave things behind when they die. So I'm kind of wondering what they're up to. But if this thing didn't have this ability, I wouldn't play it. But the sweeper deal 3, I can live through with the bull. So that makes it a pretty easy play, I think. Looks like it was just a counter there. So 2/5's kind of annoying. So my 2 options, I can like attack with everything, pump one of the 1/1s, they take 4 and go to 1, and then just play Juggernaut. Or I can explosion. Sorry, they take 4 and go to 4, with 1 point short of killing them with the explosion, is what I meant. Or so if I attack with everything, I definitely frontliner one of the 1/1s. They're definitely going to block Cohort. They're going to take 4, be at 4, and then I can explosion the 2/5 to kill it, or I can just play Juggernaut. Given if I just play Juggernaut, they would die unless they actually have that deal 3 to everything, and it's a rare, like Brotherhood's End or something. I should probably play Juggernaut. Granted, it dies to it too, and it'd be pretty ugly. I mean, it doesn't make sense to play around a rare, right? Because I could explosion the 2/5, but that would be a way worse play. They could stabilize from that position, like, pretty easily. Like, I would just have 3 1/1s out, and they would be at 4. But if I play Juggernaut, still hold the explosion, I now have 4 creatures to their 1, with them at 4, and me holding explosion. So they're pretty much dead unless they have a sweeper, or, like, something that gains a bunch of life. So I think we pretty much we can't play around a rare sweeper, right? If it was an uncommon, I would consider it. I would have been very surprised if they didn't block Cohort there. And look, if they do deal 3 to everything here, yeah, it's ugly. The game's not over. I mean, they can't attack because I'll bring this in. I've got the Juggernaut to trade with something and deal them. I just need 1 point of damage and I kill them with the explosion. But you can mitigate a rare sweeper, like making sure to leave 1 up and play this card. I don't think I had any other options, but you could make a small sacrifice. But I can't take a line as bad as explode the 2/5 there, leaving me just 3 1/1s and them at 4 life. I could lose that game to them just playing ordinary creatures, right? Obviously, it would be the better play if I knew they had the sweeper. But on board, I could lose this game to just like them playing random creatures if I did that. Whereas now, we got the win and we got the trophy. And unlike last time, I'll be a gentleman and I'll show my opponent they're dead pre-combat so they don't have to think about how to block. Ben Stark, gentleman. Well, that was a fun run from 1-2 to 7-2. We got the trophy. It's pretty sweet. I thought this deck was pretty good. It was also an interesting draft, starting out white-blue, but then red being wide open, so having to maneuver into red, play red-white splash blue instead. I do like red-white a lot in this format. I'm a little lower on blue-white, but I'll play it if I have Urza and the Soldier Lord, 4 picks into the draft or whatever. All in all, that was a fun draft and a fun run. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, feel free to discuss and criticize my lines in the comments. I know there's some content creators that don't like that. I love it. I've learned plenty. There's plenty of times people have pointed out a line and I've been like, oh yeah, that was better. I just missed it. Or yeah, your reasons for that are really good. So, if you want to criticize any of my plays or anything, feel free. I always appreciate it. I love to discuss Magic. And I hope you enjoyed this run, had a good time, and I will see you next time.